Good morning. My name is Vicky Denton, and I'm your host for F+L Webcast. Our guest today is Dr. Ping Zhu. Ping is the Vice President for Asia Pacific of Lubrizol Additives. Welcome to F+L, Ping.
Thank you, Vicky. It's such a great pleasure to talk to you again.
Well, first of all, Ping, congratulations for your milestone. 30 years is definitely a significant milestone. So, in all the roles that you have taken on, what is the key takeaway for your success? How do you become a successful person in our industry?
Actually, it's a very good question. I'm thinking back. My training is in organic chemistry and Lubrizol, where we, in a sense, is we really use chemistry to deliver solution, right? So chemistry it's a method of deliver performance. So it is an interface of chemistry, mechanical engineering, tribology, fluid dynamics. It's in that cross section where everything works together. So it requires lots of collaboration, really understanding the impact of chemistry change on the protection that we try to drive at the metal and lubricant interface. So for me, I think keeping an open mind, really try to understand all the different aspects and really balance that. Because if you look at the formulation, lubricant formulation, it comprises a lot of different chemistry driving different performance, and the final product formulation will meet specific requirement by an OEM, right? The specification by industry, as well as has to really perform in the real world, right? So so this is a industry needs a lot of collaboration, internal, external, with partners, because we don't produce base stock, right? So you also have to understand how your chemistry works with different base oil, how that impact the efficiency, performance, oxidation stability, all of that. So we're like a formula, right? Formulator really formulate together with the industry. So I think the strong development understanding on the technology side, my early years at Lubrizol really served me well as a good foundation to lead the commercial role today, because that understanding, going back to technology, as well as understanding the market needs and really drive the solution that's provide the performance as well as sustainability needs of the market is very critical. So I also really like to thank Lubrizol. It does have it really offered me a great opportunity to learn and contribute in many different ways, leverage my commercial technical background as well as my cultural background. So a lot, really helped me succeed with this industry and with this company.
So, Ping, how different were the market requirements 30 years ago from today in 2024? And how different are the challenges today versus 30 years ago?
Yeah, it definitely are. A lot of are still common, but a lot has changed, right? Fundamentally, we are going back to the basics, right? How chemistry works at the interface, how it will evolve over time, right? 30 years ago, we're talking about durability, right? Very important about protection, and also start to talk about efficiency, right? This is 30 years ago, it's in the 90s. We talk a lot about longer drain interval. You probably remember that. Really, that actually in today's term it's a sustainability story as well, right? Efficiency, that means lower CO2 emission, durability, right? Longer drain interval, and protects the equipment to enable longer life of the equipment. And today, I think it's still that. However, the pace are changing, right? The importance of sustainability become front and center because we start to see the climate change. We see a lot more climate events happening. So as the lubricant industry, we feel there is value to be delivered by all the key stakeholders in the industry to work together to really speed that up, right? So we now see not only incremental change in hardware, but revolutionary change in hardware, right? You see hybridization, various degree of hybridization, electrification, and to full battery. And also you start hearing hydrogen as a fuel, right? Clean fuel. And it's not just talking. Now the OEM are actually developing engine for that. There's OEM also are very advanced in using and developing, perfecting the battery, right, to make it last longer, weigh less, and faster in terms of charging. So driving that elements, and then also, of course, there is a fuel cell technology. So you start to see the speed of change and then the magnitude of change. I think it's quite exciting, right? For us, there's a lot of innovating potential out here. The other thing I think is changing is really looking at the commercial model, business model has changed versus 30 years ago, right? Online is really, I think 30 years we shop we go to the shop to shop, right? We don't do online. But today, think about the technology, what it has enabled us to do. People have all the choice. They can do research online, right? And without having to go to the shop and knowing nothing and just, but, the model is changing as well. We see shared economy, right? In the past, people like to own vehicle. It's all about, I need to buy a vehicle for our family when I'm able to do that so I can have the personal mobility. But now it's about, do I really want to own the vehicle, or I just leverage the shared, right, car ride, shared economy? It is fascinating, right? All of the things are changing around us. And it really requires new thinking, new way of serving this market. So that's why I find it fascinating. And I think Asia Pacific is actually at the forefront of that. And we have very diverse, right, needs from the basic foundation to all the way to very fast looking at sustainability. That's why it's both challenging but exciting at the same time, because that is an opportunity for our industry to really extract value, right, and then providing solution for our market.
So, Ping, you mentioned sustainability has become the focus in 2024. How has chemistry changed to address the need for sustainability?
Yeah, I think there's definitely, first of all, a greater awareness of chemistry. You look at around the world, there is each of the major economy has chemical regulations, right, where they review, test, and make sure that the chemistry in commerce are safe and with low risk. There's always some risk. It's really about managing the exposure of the risk. So there are check and balance in place. So Lubrizol as a global company, we comply with all the global regulations with our existing products as well as any new chemistry we introduce. We go through that vigorous new chemical introduction process, right, including at the front end invention, right, that's we can do internally or co-invent innovate with external parties. And then the regulation check, make sure that these chemistry have minimum impact to the human and environment, and have low impact to our air, to water, to land. And of course, make sure that we follow all the protocol with the various government regulations to make sure we are in compliance. So we spent a great deal of amount on that, and has been historically. So that's one part. The second part is really about the sustainability, right? Thinking about life cycle impact, carbon impact to the environment. So we have been working very closely with our supplier, with others in the industry to understand the full life cycle carbon analysis of our chemistry. So in a sense, we look at cradle to gate carbon intensity, meaning from the raw material, our supplier, their carbon intensity for each of the chemical raw material they provide to us, to the carbon needed to manufacturing our chemistry, that including shipment, all of that, to the delivery time. By the time we deliver to our customer and our industry, we really look at that overall carbon footprints, right? How much CO2 in terms of kilogram CO2 generated in order to generate 1 kilogram of the chemistry that we deliver to our customer, which actually will improve the handprints of the performance side. So, to enable, for example, protection of the equipment, because baking equipment also takes carbon, right? And also to reduce carbon intensity by improving efficiency. So we have the carbon footprints, and we have the carbon handprints to improve the longevity of the equipment, the efficiency, and the reduced emission, right? In the case of a internal combustion engine, how do we reduce the emission, right? Tailpipe emission through better formulation. So yeah, that's how we look at our sustainability effort. Of course, we're looking at our manufacturing side, the process innovation, to reduce the energy needed and footprints needed to manufacture equal amount of products, so that overall we need less carbon. So yeah, we're looking at all different angles in terms of our sustainability. And I would say the sustainability, it's almost like take a village, right? It's take a concerted effort from everybody in the value chain, right? From our supplier, to ourselves, to our customer who makes lubricants, to deliver to the end user and consumer and government, right? Well, it's an ecosystem working together to drive that. So yeah, it's quite exciting. It's a lot of collaboration. I think a circular economy, which we'll touch later, will be the same kind of approach. You can't really do it all by yourself. It takes a village to do it together.
Yeah, Ping. So in Europe, you have REACH, right? And in Asia, because you have different governments, you have some that adopted the European REACH and labeled it their own, and maybe with some modifications. So in other words, you're operating in a region that spans quite a variety of different regulations.
Yes.
And Lubrizol is a global company. So are you still able to supply a global product in Asia, considering that perhaps the REACH regulations are more stringent than some regulations in Asia? Does it make sense? Because regulation always makes products more expensive, right?
I think regulation does make us work harder, right? That's no doubt. Lubrizol is a global company. That's a good question, Vicky. As a global company, our new product introduction process has a check, is to make sure is this chemistry or the product we're about to introduce globally compliant. We do have a lot of global platform which is relevant for our market in Asia. APAC is still, for the most part, have taken influence from, for example, API. You know very well about American Petroleum Institute in terms of engine, driveline, fluid specification. So these are still relevant for APAC region. But Asia Pacific also, each of the country, as you mentioned, right? If you look at our region, we have countries. It's a very diverse region with different degree of maturity in terms of market, and also different degree of growth potential. Right? You got a very mature market like Japan, right? And then to China is a big market there. And also to the Southeast Asia, which I think is going to be the growth engine in the next 5-10 years, with all the infrastructure investment and then the rising middle class, which will drive the personal mobility requirements, right? The energy, how much energy they will consume, and then also the comfort part of the life, right? When you have middle class, when I remember the first thing I want is an air conditioner, a refrigerator. Those all will use our technology, right? So we see a lot of opportunity here. But in the meantime, all of the country, as you noted, either already have chemical regulation in place or are in a process of introducing their chemical regulation. So we have a very strong product safety and compliance team in both headquarters as well as in the region to really monitor and guide our work and make sure that we are complying with all the regulations. Yeah. So on top of that, there is also the objective of achieving carbon neutrality. A lot of countries already pledged for that. Now it's about implementation, how we get there, right? So the OEM are working very hard to develop alternative hardware solutions to enable that, right? We talk about the importance of OEM. Asia is very unique. I actually did some study on, the influence of Asia OEM, and if you believe the published number in terms of the sales vehicle, let's just use transportation, right? For car worldwide car sale, Asia OEM, APAC, right? Mostly Asia, right? The 3 countries in the North Asia combined, they're responsible for over 50% of the car sale. So these are the Asian brands. And motorcycle, same story, over 50%. And when we talk about construction equipment, again, 50%. That magnitude is mind-boggling. And they are the one developing hardware. And they require fluid to enable that. And we're in the right location, right, to innovate in Asia Pacific.
And you're
really
actually, actually talking just about brand, but also in China, in Thailand, in Indonesia, you have foreign brands manufacturing in this market.
Exactly. Yes. Talking about manufacture, right? This region is responsible for a majority of the manufacturing activity in the world. So
Yes.
the manufacturing output is amazing. Chemical industry too. China alone accounts for 43% of the chemical manufacture in the world. And we also have Japan, think about Singapore chemical complex. We have so much in this region. So very excited. I think we're in the right place for innovation. And they are very innovative, right? And you could see the new platform they bring to the market in such short amount of time. It's amazing. For example, Japan is the first. Toyota is the first company, right? Introduced the hybrid a long time ago.
I think
Decades ago now, Prius,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It's still
19 years ago.
very strong.
Yeah,
it's still working very strong. And then the Chinese OEMs, innovated to bring in full battery, right? Full battery vehicles. So the world is around us are very innovative, and also I think in terms of commercial innovation, the channel to market is extremely dynamic in this region. People are always finding a way to get to the market, to their customer, innovatively, right? This drives that's why, for me, my view is that we need to really have an empowered team in this region and have a local for local approach to be successful. And Lubrizol are doing that. We are fully regionalized. We want decision to be made at the interface so we can have tailored response and agile response to our customers, OEMs, end user in the region, to be in tune with the government regulation. So you absolutely need the people on the ground to deliver, to execute. This is, to me, is the key, one of the key ingredients for success in this dynamic market.
Carbon neutrality. So OEMs have said that. Now, my question for you, as a representative of Lubrizol Additives, is: Can you switch all of your technology from petroleum based to bio based, or something that's neutral, carbon neutral?
It's a journey, right? We are where we are today in the industry, right? And where we're going. It takes a lot of investment, right? These, as I said, all of our chemistry in compliance with the current regulation. We are monitoring future development in the regulatory space, so we can be prepared. Our chemistry will continue to be compliance. But looking at carbon as a little bit different space, so we have I would say our sustainability is part of our strategy. It's not a separate initiative at Lubrizol. So we make decisions on the choice of where we invest in terms of technology investment, the choice of process innovation, the choice of our supplier. These are built in. We look at the life cycle analysis of carbon. As I mentioned before, right, it's really about what, cradle to gate, meaning from the raw material all the way to product gets out of the door at Lubrizol. What is the carbon intensity we created? We have the tools already. Now we are using that to drive some conversation, right? Both internally as well with our customer, with our supplier, and try to listen to their challenge and their needs in terms of meeting sustainability goal and how we can work together, right? It requires, as I said, it's not a single company's effort. It requires the whole industry to work together. It requires government to support as well, and it requires education on the consumer, right? It's not all about the lowest cost solution that you adopt. There is an element of environmental sustainability. Can you choose a more sustainable solution, right? So that's required the whole ecosystem to work together. For Lubrizol, what we will do, our effort in terms of our sustainability, I would say, really looking at a few areas, right? One is looking at our technology, continue to deliver solution that will help extend both the life of the oil and the equipment the lubricant is protecting. That's one traditional way we've been doing this since the inception of the company. It is all about, think about at the early days, right? The oil change interval was very short. The engine doesn't last long, but today, look how far the industry has come. So we are very proud to be the enabler for that. We'll continue to do that. In addition, we will enable efficiency and reduce emission, right? We enable that as well. The third part, I would say, we will deliver in the recent years, right, with the rising of the electrification, BEV, we are delivering innovation solution in a powertrain. You heard about our, in fact, imaging. Thank you very much. I know imaging won the product development of the year a couple of years back at HFU Lube. Thanks for our industry support on that. That is a specific product line to address new hardware. Yes, the new hardware ultimately is enable lower carbon emission. So we are there. We cannot do it on our own. We have to work together as a system with the hardware to drive that. Of course, Lubrizol, we have a lot of other division, right, driving that sustainability story. We have in our coolant refrigeration division, we really are developing low global warming protecting cooling solutions. In our advanced material side, we're using bio-based polymer resins as a renewable source of thermoplastic polyurethane for sports, footwear, and other key applications. And our CPVC, it's the special plastic, right? It really delivers clean water to millions with a reduced environmental impact in manufacture. We actually done our life cycle for that particular product. It is about 44% lower than the average LCA of competing material, right? So as technology provider, sustainability is really part of our overall strategy. It is also reflected in our Lubrizol's vision, right? Our vision is Lubrizol science, right? We use science. We're a technology company. Lubrizol science deliver sustainable solution to advance mobility, improving well-being, and enhance modern life. So I think we're in very strong position to continue to innovate with our OEM oil partners, as well as leverage both internal, external innovation capability like universities, research institute, to develop a full range of technology to address these diverse market needs, right? From upgrade to first to market new technology. Quite exciting for us.
Okay, let's talk about circularity thing.
Sure.
So what is Lubrizol doing in this area? And what is the relationship between circularity and sustainability? Because I think it's a little bit confusing, right? Where one begins, other, are they really the same thing?
It can be confusing. Maybe let's take a step back. Before talking about circularity, we talk about linear economy, right? And this is what we are very familiar. This is the mainstay today, and we try to transition to more of a circular economy. So a linear economy is really about cradle to grave. So in other words, we take resource from the nature, we make product, use it, and then dispose. It's a linear. So in this economy, right, in a linear economy, so there's a strong linkage between economic development and natural resource consumption and depletion. And our Earth has a lot of resource, but it's also there is a limit. So how do we fully leverage that? So this is where circular economy comes in. So in an ideal circular economy, growth is decoupled from the use of scarce resource. How do you do that? You do it through disruptive technology. You do it through different business model. So in a sense, in the circular economy, waste can be reused and renewed. It's not a waste anymore. It's just a resource for us to tap into through innovation. So in this sense, we have a cradle to cradle. So it's never cradle to grave. So the circle keeps driving in. So how do we achieve that? There's various different models, right? For example, circular supply chain. What does that mean? You actually sourcing using local feedstock, and you manufacturing locally consume, then you collect, recycle, and reuse. So it's all in the same circle. So you don't ship a lot of things because that costs carbon, right? So you're managing that way. The other thing is very, very easy for us to understand is recycle and recovery, right? And in our industry, a great example would be the re-refined base oil, where at the end of the useful life of the lubricants, it gets collected and re-refined, and now it can be put into the pool of used together with virgin base oil. So that's a big effort right now going on everywhere, whether it's in Europe, US, or in APAC. Biodiesel is another great example, right? So what people are using is collect the used cooking oil, because cooking oil is from the nature, right, bio-based, and then convert that to make it into biodiesel. So that's a utilization. So you don't always rely on fossil. Okay. The third part is really about how do we extend life. So if you extend the life, you will use less. So you will consume less of the natural resource. In our case, right, it's about extending the oil drain interval, and that has been ongoing for a long time. This is not new. And also, in the meantime, have a better protection so we can extend the equipment life. That's the ultimate goal, right? Another more concept, like a newer concept, is more of a shared platform or shared economy. For example, car ownership versus share the ride. So we don't need to have so many, because any given car, right, spend 90% or 80% of time idle. That means these are capacity being wasted, not being utilized. So the shared car ride is really leverage the existing capacity, so we don't have to produce as much, right? So that's a mindset change. That's a behavior change. That's a model change. And last one is really product service. So you don't really just sell product anymore. You actually offer service. So, for example, the oil company offers, instead of sell oil to consumer for them to use, they actually offer do it for you, right? So the instant oil change concept really helps drive the use of, first of all, quality fluid. So, right, because they're reputable, they drive the use of the good quality fluid in the market. So that will help protect the vehicle better and last longer than the cheap fluid without quality. Secondly, it enable easier waste oil collection, because you go to change your oil, they will keep the waste oil, and that will be collected and goes into recycle loop. So all of these are quite interesting. You see the circularity economy, the different business model. We already see example in lubricant industry in front of our eyes. And I think the industry is very creative. There's going to be more coming. And we're very happy in terms of how we can enable that. We are already enable a lot of that, right? In terms of recovery, recycle, in terms of chemistry to enable the user refinery, re-refine base oil, extend life. We're doing that. And also, for me, especially when we talk about circular supply chain, it is about driving the localization, local innovation, local sourcing, local manufacture, support our local market.
Yeah, Ping,
So,
a follow-up question on circularity. A typical formulation, depending on what kind of fluid it is, and correct me if I'm wrong, most of the fluid that's being recycled right now are automotive, not industrial. They can range anywhere from 20 to 30% additives and anywhere from 70 to 80% base oil. What happens to the additives when the finished lubricant is recycled?
yeah, so additives, right? When we develop the additive, all the additive perform function, right, in the oil. And the life of the oil typically determined as because the additive will be consumed during use, right? The antioxidant will do its work to inhibit oxidation by transforming the chemistry. Anti-wear and EP, they all have some sort of function or reaction with the metal surface. So you are consuming a lot of these. And that's why at the end of the useful life, if you test the fluid, you will still see the chemical elements because, the elements does not disappear, but it is no longer in the chemical structure when it's originally being generated. It's already either decomposed or transformed to a different breakdown into a different piece of bits, and they're no longer at the originally intended structure level or performance level anymore. That's where you will change oil, right? And so those are no longer, we cannot recycle those additives from the used oil because they are not the same as anymore. So more is focused on recycle the base oil, remove that, any of the impurities coming from whether the chemical or from the metal wear elements. So, and then they refine to remove, to make it more close to the virgin base oil, if you will. So yeah, that's really the process. What we can do on the additive side is to make sure that we adapt our formulation to accommodate the unique feature of refined base oil. So we are doing a lot of work in that area as well.
So a re-refined base oil group 1 or group 2 or group 3 is not the same as a group 1, group 2, group 3 virgin base oil?
I'm not the best person to talk about the details. I guess it's also depends on the process each of the company takes. I would choose not to comment on that because I'm really not well versed in this area. But we do have people at Lubrizol probably can answer the question much better than me.
No problem. So, Ping, we're almost at the end of the hour. I think actually we have reached past the hour. Just a quick question, which is almost like I'm sure everyone who's interviewed you asked this question. What keeps you awake at night being responsible for technology in Asia Pacific?
What keeps me in mind in the wake in the night? Part of things. Okay, so what is the ultimate goal of Lubrizol is to ensure we deliver the safe and sustainable solution that drives the performance requirements for our industry in reliable way, right? We are very strong in technology. Our customer recognize that, and this is where our strengths are. We are, as a company, we pay a lot of attention on how do we mitigate risk. Risk is all around us. Sometimes we don't know it's just creeping on us. So building a very strong BCP, business continuity plan, is critical for us as a supplier, for our customer and OEM partners in the industry. So this, if you ask me what really keeps me awake, is that unknown. So how do we have a strong BCP is very critical, right? For example, I'll give you example, recent example, right? Red Sea. Everybody know what's happening in Red Sea. And it really, because of the Red Sea unsettlement, the shipping industry has to take alternative route. What that means is takes longer, right? To for example, if we have technology, we have products shipping from US or Europe to Asia, it's going to take longer time. So how do we ensure we have supply reliability and capability and agility to address our customer needs? This is really my biggest concern. I'm not worried about our capability developing the solution. Our team are very creative. They have the experience. The supply chain disruption, the geopolitical unsettlement, which is out of our control, right? What if there's a trade war, right? And what could happen when there's a trade war? So how do we mitigate the risk? So those are the things, as leaders of the industry, we have to be prepared ahead of time rather than wait for it to happen and then scramble, right? So, and our customer expect that. So those are the things that always keep in mind, keep me awake in the mind in the night is, do we have any risk that we haven't thought about? Yes.
It's a big world, so
It is a big world. You know that we talked earlier today about the outrage, right? You know, the impact of the airline and other
yes.
industry as well.
Yeah, I think whether we know, we anticipate pandemic, we already know, we anticipate, but there are always new risks, like you mentioned. Well, Ping,
Agree.
such
I think, as you said, right, the pandemic is painful, but it also taught the whole industry the importance of BCP.
yes. Well, Ping, it's a pleasure to talk to you. It's always nice to have this conversation with you, whether personally or online, because you're such an intelligent, well-read person, very well-rounded. Really appreciate the time you're spending with us today.
Thank you, Vicky. It's always great to spend time with you, and I look forward to seeing you in next year's Asia Pacific, Asia Film Loop Week. I think it's in March, right? So it's coming up.
Yes, in Bali, and we're also celebrating 30 years. So
oh wow! Congratulations!
Yes,
wow.
we're kind of in the same time horizon. So
absolutely, yeah. We definitely need to celebrate when we see each other.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
You too. Bye.